We are back on another episode of Sports Slice, and I am here with a very important person to the entire Timbo Slice of Life 12 journey, the Caden. Let me, for the people that don't know Caden, which if you don't know Caden, what the heck are we doing right now? Caden's kind of been there through it all, through the entire journey of this whole life of content creation. I know we've got a lot of sports to talk about, but this is some crazy stuff. So Caden and I started knowing each other, it would be 2022 or 2023?
I think it was 2023, early 2023.
Yep, because it was which I'm a glass half full kind of guy. I always find the positives out of a terrible situation, but it was when the government was actually trying to ban TikTok.
Yep.
And we ended up getting connected not long after that. I was one of the creators that, was in DC for all that.
Yep.
And then just kind of over the years, friendship blossom. And like I said, the guy's been here through it all. I mean, we're fighting against the government. We went to March Madness together. Like it's been a crazy ride.
A couple Super Bowls in there too. Go Birds.
Go Birds. There we go. And
yeah.
And also, fun fact for those that, nobody would know except between you and I, but Caden was actually the one that originally said 2 years ago in February of 2024,
yeah.
Hey, Tim, we need to get you on a podcast. Like, the ultimate goal is to get you on a podcast. And here we are. Shout it out. Like, this is insane.
Spoken into existence, I guess. Yeah. I think
right?
I think the way I said it specifically is in my hyperbolic amped on caffeine on the media center floor was Tim, you're going to be the next face and voice of sports media. And the way we get there is through a podcast. And now in the moment you looked at me and you're like, yeah, man. But in the back of your mind, I knew you were like, this guy's kind of crazy. And I think the heat of the moment, the lights are getting to him.
I was like, it's been a long week. There's no way this is happening. Like, I do appreciate it, but you know what? Like I said, spoken into existence, the voice of reason.
If only I was that good with my sports bets.
Same. So we'll get into some crazy stuff. So there's been a lot that's transpired the past week since the last episode of Sports Slice.
Yep.
We're going to talk about the NBA playoffs.
Yeah.
To start, because now my 76ers are out. So like I get to just sit and watch the playoffs and not have to worry about my team. The Lakers.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, Caden is a massive Lakers fan. Is LeBron, have we seen LeBron play his last game? I don't know. There have been little tidbits of hey, this could be it. Like his shoes that he was wearing before, what was it, game 3?
Yep.
Oh gosh, I forget what they're called now, but there have been some tiny little tidbits, like I said, of hey, this could be it for LeBron. And also, if LeBron's done, do the Lakers still hold on to Bronny? Now I know Bronny gave actually some valuable minutes down the stretch for the Lakers with all their injuries and whatnot.
Yep.
But the way that his contract's set up, now you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think after this season he has any guaranteed money left on his contract.
I believe you're right because he signed a rookie deal and it was a second-round rookie deal. So, and it was kind of a two-way contract. So therefore, that's max 2 years, and they have to renegotiate there. And I think that nuance probably played a little bit of a part of how LeBron won his contract. Remember, this is the first time since I believe 2018. That LeBron is officially a free agent. On the other years, even though he's been on 2-year contracts, 3-year contracts, it's always had a player option, right? And they've always extended. But I believe they looked at Bronny's deal when he got drafted, looked at LeBron's deal when he signed his deal the same year that Bronny got drafted, and they were like, let's line this up, right? And that's not new. That's not, and I don't think it gives us an indication of where LeBron's head's at. I think, though, from a salary cap perspective, I think, this is the one thing from other hoop heads. If you're not paying attention, you don't know. But the Lakers development team is actually one of the best in the league. Like the South Bay Lakers, their staff, their scouting department, their development team is one of the best, and it's been consistently one of the best. If you look at the history of like late second round and undrafted picks, I mean, look at someone like an Austin Reeves, right, who went on undrafted
Right.
free agent, Alex Caruso before that, late gems like a Kyle Kuzma, Josh Hart, that have all now grown into good role players, if not stars, to their new respective teams. And so what I would say is if you're Bronny's team, not LeBron talking to Bronny, but Bronny's his own man and in his own team, I would say like the growth you've seen in your first 2 years, mind you, he's still 21. Like your lifestyle one is one part, but two, like the ability and growth you've had to catch up to the pace of play where you're getting playoff minutes. And some of them, some people may be like, well, those are garbage minutes. No, he was playing in the second and third quarters, like
Right.
against the Rockets. Like he does create matchup issues because he is a true guard, but his athleticism allows him to cut like a wing. And so, what I would say is the Bronny situation is probably a footnote in the larger LeBron conversation. Now, I will speak truly as a fan. Yes, as the Lakers in Lakers world, the everyone's been ringing the bell really loudly of like LeBron needs to take a pay cut. But I think what we have to look at it is it's not LeBron needs to take a pay cut because he's not deserving of the money, right? Like I think someone once said if there was no salary cap in the NBA, you would give LeBron the Shohei Otani type deal. You would
100%.
he's worth that money because you make that money back on the back end of jersey sales, tickets, media rights. LeBron in the league is better for the league.
Right. And people also want to play for him or play with him, I should
Play
say.
with it, right? Because
Yep.
he's one of the few players that the league has seen that like everyone gets better, everyone has a shot, everyone eats when LeBron is around. And at this point, like statistically, he is the greatest player of all time. Like I'm just gonna put it out there, like, and I say that as a Kobe stan. Like, you know how much I love Kobe. The world knows how much I love Kobe. Like, but I can't argue with the fact statistically LeBron has done the unimaginable. He broke records that we thought would stand for the test of time. The only thing that he hasn't done is score 100 plus points in a game. Like, if he does that, then it's like, I don't really know what conversation is left to have, right?
It's
Um,
fair.
I think the pay cut conversation comes from, hey, LeBron, you need to take a pay cut in order for us to give you the right team to build around. Because if it's you and Luca making 40 to 50 million plus dollars a year each, the cap is pretty much gone. And
Right.
we saw that's kind of been the case the last 2 years of like the role players on these last few years of the Lakers, and as with Luca and LeBron, the half year last year and this year full year, they're good players. Trust me, I like watching Jackson Hayes play. I like watching Austin Reeves. I love watching Luke Kennard. Like there are some really good key role players. Rui Hachimura, incredible, set the playoff record for 3-point percentage of all time. Like we have some good players, but we're not as deep as an OKC. We're not as deep as a San Antonio. And so the delta between seeds 1 and 2 to then 3 is the biggest we've probably seen in the modern era of basketball. Where typically, if you're a top 4 team in either conference, you're a pretty good team and you have a decent shot at winning a chip. This year and last year were the first years that I've looked at the conference standings and I'm like, it's 1 and 2 and then everyone else. Like
Yep.
it's a different league right now, and that's because of depth and that's because of how much great talent is coming out of college and overseas.
Yep. And I think
Um,
that's more specifically too on the West because the East has been this way for a long time.
yep,
The East is above average. But like I mean, you go and look at Boston. Now,
yep,
obviously, I'm going to talk about Boston because they lost to the 76ers. But like a Boston on the West, I mean, you're probably what, a 6 seed, 5 seed? Like,
I would have to look at
and
the standings,
I
but yes,
mean,
I think you're
no,
right. They end up 5 or 6
like,
in,
I
in
mean,
the
no disrespect to Boston or, the Celtics organization, obviously great organization, but like the West is just significantly more stacked. And I mean, like, and this is a topic for another situation, but like, I think we are at the point in the NBA, especially with the talks about, and I know we're going on a tangent here, but with the talks about expansion teams and whatnot.
yep,
But the Minnesota Timberwolves, how they're still in the Western Conference is just so baffling to me.
yeah,
Like throw them on the East. Like, I get it. Like, as a 76ers fan, I'm okay with them being on the West because
You don't have to deal
they're
with
one
them.
of the premier teams.
Yep.
However, we have a team in Minnesota. Why are you playing on the West Coast? Like the Western Conference. Like, put them on the
Yeah.
East. That is my one qualm that I have with the NBA right now. And again, random tangent, and we'll go right back to LeBron. But like, it's just like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
But to your point with LeBron, do you think if, let's say, LeBron comes back for another year,
Yep.
do you think
Hmm.
there is a possibility of a return, another return to Cleveland, to finish out his career where it started? I haven't looked at, obviously, salary cap situations, but I mean, you just have to think that like this is a storybook ending for LeBron and his career is to come back home one more time. And obviously the way that Cleveland's roster is stacked right now, I mean,
Yep.
you add LeBron into that, and obviously you're going to deal with some money issues, in theory. But you add LeBron to that roster, I mean, I don't see anybody beating Cleveland next year.
I agree with that. I think to answer your first question, is there a possibility? I think there's always a possibility, right? I think if you were to rank the options, um, lifestyle in Cleveland is a lot different than lifestyle in LA. It's
True.
hard to run $1 billion media empire from Cleveland. It is. It's now. Could he kind of be a little bit more private? Could he be a little bit more, secluded from the rest of the world in the public eye? Maybe a little bit more. The microscope's a lot smaller there. Um, my one hiccup though with Cleveland is like, I think roster construction. You're absolutely right. I think that's the one piece they're missing is a swing forward who can also run point. I think that would take a lot of pressure off of Donovan Mitchell. I think Donovan Mitchell could go back to being the true two that he is, like a driving two, kind of like he was in Utah. But I also feel like the one thing, because you're talking about a guy who has as much respect and sometimes has been in the league longer than some of the current owners. I don't know if where his relationship with Dan Gilbert is now.
Fair.
And now he has said, winning in 2016 for Cleveland kind of put a bow on everything, right? Like it was the perfect ending to that chapter. And he did what he came to do initially. So my thing with Cleveland would be, if he's going to Cleveland, it's not because of the storybook ending as much as it is the basketball opportunity to win a championship. Because if LeBron's going to put the work in, put the investment in on his body, to play into his year 42 of life, 43 of life, because I think if he does sign a contract, it's going to be a 2-year deal. I don't think he ever wants to put the message out. It could be a 1-and-1 where it's a 1 year and then a player option to opt in. But I do believe that he's going to try to go for 2 years because 2028 would mean he's playing into his 25th year. And he'd be the first ever player to hit 25 years of service in the NBA. And also it coincides with then the Olympic year. So
True.
all those things you have to think about, right? I would say the roster construction would be the number one attraction for Cleveland of the reason you'd go to Cleveland. Now, on the flip side, in terms of ownership, LA, and I'm not just saying this because I'm a Laker fan, it's more just like they're the true, like the facts of the matter. I think he loves JJ as a coach. I think JJ knows how to coach LeBron, and I know that they have a good enough relationship that there's no issues there with like basketball strategy. I think the ownership group, the Waters Group, Mark Waters, the current owner of the Dodgers and now the new owner of the Lakers, he is not afraid to spend money to get championships. This is the one owner in LeBron's career that has no issue signing a check. Remember,
Fair.
Miami hit a stalemate. I mean, Dan Gilbert hit a stalemate in the first chapter. The what is it? Mickey Aramis, the owner of the Heat, they ended up
Mm-hmm.
being able to, like, we can't afford everybody. And then Cleveland again, it was like they kind of hit their cap, like when it was like Kyrie versus LeBron and da 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 da. And then the Lakers again, or the Lakers for the first time. I mean, the Buss family was like the last small mom and pop style organization in the NBA. And I think the lack of wanting to spend or get into the luxury tax or get into the aprons is what limited their roster construction. They didn't take big swings I mean, they took swings. They got LeBron, then they got AD, and then they got Luca, right? Like they've done those things, but I think the investment into the facility, which like they officially announced the G League team is officially moving from El Segundo at the training facility now to Palm Springs. So now the full El Segundo facility will be only Lakers, and like they're going to put
That's
all of
crazy.
these new training rehabilitation units in partnership with some of the top sports scientists at UCLA. Like it is going to be a state of the art, new cutting edge. Like next 50 years of basketball will be determined by the technologies put into the center. Those are the things that excites the nerd part of LeBron, right? Like he sees those efforts from ownership of like, I'm going to invest, you're going to invest. Great. Then we have this equal partnership. As I said before, the lifestyle of LA makes a whole lot of sense, right? He has built a compound in Brentwood. He's still expanding upon that compound. He loves golf, so now he's golfing a ton more. And LA golf weather is year round consistent for the most part.
Amen to that.
So
A little
like,
bit better than North Dakota golf weather.
I think it's like 1A and 1B. I from
I,
what you've told me, I think they're pretty on par. But I would say that like the one thing that LA doesn't have right now is a clear construction of a roster, right? And like I think he knows what he has in Luka as a running mate. I think he knows what he has in Austin Reeves as a running mate. I think it's the rest of the roster, and can the Lakers provide a deep enough roster to go toe to toe with the OKCs and San Antonios of the world? Because if he's coming back to play, he wants to win a championship. Like
right.
I think he wants number 5. He wants a 5th ring minimum. 6 would be beautiful.
hmm
So
Now, I will tell you,
those are
though,
the arguments.
that's totally fair. What I will say, and we've got a whole bunch of other stuff to talk about here, but the last thing I'm going to say with LeBron James,
Yes.
and this is me speaking to him directly if he's watching this
Yep.
as a 76ers fan, we'll get rid of Paul George. Come to Philly. Please, come to Philly. That would make my entire dream. My entire life, I've wanted LeBron James to play for the 76ers. The 76ers roster's okay. It's young, very young.
Yep.
But LeBron James ending his career in Philly would just be magical for me. Nobody else. I mean, most people probably wouldn't care, but that's the bias in me.
I don't hate that.
But on another note, we're going to switch gears from the NBA to the NFL here.
Switch it.
So, as a Philadelphia Eagles fan,
Go Birds.
it's been a big week. Big 48 hours here this week with the NFL schedule release.
Yep.
Finding out that the Eagles are playing in 2 Monday night games, 2
Yep.
Sunday night games,
Yeah.
Christmas Eve,
Yep.
Thanksgiving against the Cowboys, a game in London against the Jaguars, which the Eagles are probably going to lose, just being honest, because the Jacksonville Jaguars, when they go overseas and play in London, are like the 2008 New England Patriots, where they just don't lose.
Yep.
And then the Eagles also play a Saturday game. I believe, and I could be wrong, but I believe the Eagles only have 5 1 p.m. kickoff time slots this season. As of right now, there's a couple of TBD, like San Francisco at the end of the year when they play. But this shows. Now, I've always been in the record of, when the NFL puts a team in prime time a lot, there's a reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know you hear a lot of people that are saying, hey, like the Eagles window to win the Super Bowl and win another Super Bowl is closing. AJ Brown is going to leave here in a couple weeks. Apparently he's going to be traded June 1st. Regardless, the NFL's not going to put a team. Now, I know the Eagles have a lot of popularity, obviously, but the NFL's not going to risk an investment of putting a team on Christmas Eve, on Thanksgiving, playing overseas, playing numerous, primetime games for a team to go, 7-10. Yes, it happens every once in a while. But this, to me, is proof that I think the NFL, regardless of what all these experts are saying, believes in the Philadelphia Eagles organization and the way that the roster is constructed right now, that like this is going to be a playoff team. Now,
Yep.
They should be a playoff team. You have the star quarterback. You have the replacement for AJ Brown if AJ Brown does leave. You've got one of the best running backs in the NFL. Offensive line is going to be interesting with a new O-line coach. Obviously, the entire offense in general is going to be different, but I'm excited. Like it's a very favorable schedule. The only problem that I truly had with the Eagles schedule um, was the what was a week 14 bye or week 13 bye.
Yeah,
I am all for having a bye late. However, when it's that late, plus you have I think it's a 3 game road stretch right before and then after. It's like holy, like this is a wild part of the schedule. But
yeah.
with the schedules, did you watch any of the schedule release videos that teams put out?
I saw. I mean, I'm a Steeler fan, but didn't really care for the Steelers one.
Yep.
Um, Chargers. I mean, we give them the Oscar every year. I mean, like
Let's
we
we got
give
to
them.
give the Chargers a round of applause right now. Like
I
shout out the Chargers because I said it so made a TikTok about it. There was a low-hanging fruit for every NFL franchise to talk about Mike Vrabel, and only one did it, and that was the Chargers
Yeah.
because their social media team, when it comes to the schedule release video, they don't care. They just don't care. I mean, not only did they mention Mike Vrabel's situation once, but they did it twice. They did it with
Twice.
the sign with the new photo drop soon or whatever,
Yep.
and then with the little notification that popped up with from the New
The-
York Post that there was a message for him and whatnot. I thought it was hysterical, and I'm glad somebody like made a joke of the situation because yes, it is a serious situation and whatnot, but this is the opportunity where you can joke about it.
oh, 100%. And my thought was this. I was like, and maybe because the rest of the world like has kind of moved on in terms of like other news stories to talk about, and I think other things have happened. But I think it's serious for the people involved. This
Right.
situation is going to be a kind of a blowover for the NFL, right? Like
100%.
the NFL season, this isn't going to be, the hottest conversation through the next, 6 months for the league. And I think they know that. I think the Chargers are the perfect team to do it because they look at the schedule release as their opportunity to take over the conversation because they have little brother energy in the city of LA. And that's not a bad thing, right? Like they have younger sibling energy, which just means that like they can say kind of the flippant things and take a little bit more risk because the microscope isn't as large, right, for them. And they do it for the internet and they do it for their fans and to be like, hey, we care about this, so you should care about it. And I think that approach to schedule release is ingenious. And I also think that like if we can't laugh at it, then it's like, and I don't want it to ever get personal. I think any sort of character attacks on either Diana Rossini or Mike Vrabel are just like we're too grown to be doing these conversations and like everyone feels safe behind a keyboard. But I think
Right.
this being more laughing at the situation of how it comes to life and how it hits the culture of internet, I think is free game for jokes because it is hilarious of like it feels like Easter eggs. It feels like Pablo Torre finds out is running this release, which I love Pablo. Shout out
100%.
shout out Pablo for the Pulitzer Prize. But like
Shout out Pablo.
also, Pablo needs you on his podcast at some point because he doesn't realize that you were breaking stories in the world of college athletics before PTFO started.
Oh, wow. And did we break a wild story? What was that? 2 years ago? Year and
Yeah.
a half ago? There, and for those that don't know what Caden's talking about, there's actually a couple, but one of them is a unique situation that I think is still under investigation and whatnot. But the other one was there was a NAIA school,
Yep.
and I'm not going to say the name of it, but it was in Texas. And this NAIA institution, actually, there's a couple other stories too, but this one in particular um, wasn't a real school. Like it was legit, not a real school. And from athletes that were there, specifically on their football team, reached out because I had made a video because it had lost or it was losing its accreditation, and also the former president who now was like when I was making the video got put into a different role
Yep.
was being investigated overseas for relation to a group, and like it was wild, like
Yep.
connecting all the dots. And so I go and made this one video about this school, and obviously on TikTok, like people ate it up and like it
Yep.
went insanely viral, and players started reaching out and they're like, hey, like do you want to know the whole story? Yeah, like I want to know all about this school because I had never heard of it before. And the campus was one building, like it was an office building where like athletic facilities were in one part of the building, and then there was dorms, and then there was classrooms above the dorms. Like how it was being described was almost like Zoe 101 or like
Yeah.
one of those old like Nickelodeon
Yep.
high school college TV shows. But yeah, like it was a crazy situation.
Yep.
But yeah, that happened. What? It was about 2 years ago now.
It was early 24, I believe, when you'd let me know.
Yeah,
Like when
yeah,
you were like, I got this thing coming and it's gonna be spicy, and I was like, this
yeah. I
is
was like,
crazy.
Caden, I don't know how to go about this, but I'm telling you first. And you're like, yeah, be a little bit careful.
Yep.
Obviously, like you can't like make any crazy accusations, which obviously you never can. But it was just a very unique situation with that school, and that school is no longer in existence. Fun fact.
Yeah.
Um,
And I think
it
also the timing
closed.
of it was like it was around the same time that the Bishop Montgomery, not the Bishop Montgomery, sorry,
Bishop
Bishop
Sycamore.
Sycamore, that doc
Yeah.
had dropped. And it was
Yep.
like it was eerily similar, like a similar
Yep.
situation just at the college level. And I was like, this is wild that this is that you're finding this out in real time while this documentary was taking over the conversation as well.
Hundred
Um,
percent.
but back, I mean, back to the point. So like, um, I think that like the Rabel thing, I was like, I think it's great. I think it's good little beef. It's good red meat. It's good bulletin board material for the Patriots. I think the Patriots are going to do their job, right? Like that's their whole thing. I don't think this as again by the time we get to
Starting to
kickoff.
sound like Bill Belichick.
No, whoa there. Let's not make wild accusations like that. By the time they get to Thursday Night Football against the Seahawks in opening week, I think we're gonna be fine. Like I think we're all gonna forget about this. Like it's gonna be such a footnote that like it is what it is, right?
No, I agree. We're just kind of in the dog days. Like it was the worst possible time for the situation to make its appearance on social media because we're in the dog days of the NFL offseason
Yes.
right now. And even just in football in general. I mean, you got Michigan State fans saying that if they can go 8-0 through the first 8 weeks of the season, like they could make a Big Ten run and win the national or go to the college football playoff. Like it's not happening. But like we're in that point of the offseason where some of the most delusional takes are coming out. Also, like the littlest of stories are like captivating sports fans because you just want more. And like the one thing that's nice right now is yes, there's like the UFL and we're at least getting some football,
Yep.
but the UFL is not the NFL or college football. So
No.
anything's going to go viral right now.
Yeah, and I also think that like the comparison that I make of this Rabel situation, the timing of it all, is similar to the Laramie Tunsil draft night situation. Like, the people that are releasing the stories obviously have some sort of vendetta against or strategy against Vrabel, and they are the Patriots or whatever it is. Maybe they're a bunch of Jets fans. But basically, like they timed it up to be at the worst possible time, and they knew this. And you know what I mean? That's the game of clicks, right? And so I think, but remember, I mean, we look at Laramie Tunsil now, and he's an all-pro offensive lineman, and his career's been fine. Like Vrabel could go on a run and reignite the Patriots dynasty after the Birds finish their dynasty. But like once
It's
if
never
they
actually
do,
ending.
um, every empire has to fall. But
Fair.
basically, like winning heals all, right? That's what you and I know from the world of sports. Winning heals all. Winning covers all. And so I think that like if the Patriots win the division again, right? In their division, it's them and the Bills, and so it's them and Buffalo, and they have to figure out like, and Buffalo's got a new coach and a new era for them, and like they still have Josh Allen, who's a cyborg, but like the Patriots could still easily win that division again.
100%. And I mean, at the end of the day, the Patriots don't even need to win the division. If they just make the playoffs, nobody's going to say anything.
Yeah, if Gillette
And
Stadium
even
is
if they
filled in January, people are happy.
100%. And I even think it's a situation of as soon as the season starts, regardless of if the Patriots are good or not, I just don't think people will care. Like they'll make jokes about it.
Yep.
100%. I think you'll see NFL memes post a picture like the Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini pictures or whatever.
Yep.
Every single week the Patriots lose just because like people are going to laugh at it. Like
Yes.
it's just the world of sports memes and like sports media and stuff.
Yep.
Like people make light of situations like that. And I know I mentioned earlier we're at the dog days of off season for the NFL where the littlest of things are going viral.
Yep.
So Drake released his new album,
Yep.
Iceman.
Yep.
And in there's a song called Make Them Cry. Now, I have not listened to, well, actually, that's not true. I've listened to half the album right now. However, Make Them Cry is easily a top 5 song for me of all time. Not any other reason except for Jalen Hurts was referenced and the Philadelphia Eagles. So shout out Drake. Big shout out Drake for including the greatest franchise in North American sports into his newest album. But I did a little deep dive on this whole thing, and you're shaking your head. We know it's true.
Yeah.
But I did a little deep dive on this. So obviously, Jalen Hurts, as everybody knows, he is a Jordan athlete.
Yep.
Probably one of the biggest, if not the face of, at least for Jordan's football branch. But he's one of the bigger names in all of, Jordan's brand with athletes and whatnot. Drake, OVO has done a bunch of collaborations with Jordan.
Sure.
It only makes sense for Drake, who's one of the biggest names in the music world,
Yep.
to include Jalen Hurts, who's one of the biggest names for Jordan. Like, it was just like a match made in heaven that just occurred for Jordan naturally. And like, this is, if you're Jordan, like, you capitalize on this as much as you possibly can. It's like, hey, like, we've got two of our biggest individuals associated to our brand, like, naturally working together. Now, I don't know if there was any thought behind that for Drake. I think it's more just like a good play on words with Hurts' last name, like with what Nike did with the Love Hurts campaign.
Yep.
Which, by the way, incredible. But like, this, obviously the album came out last night, and this is, I mean, I made the video right away because I saw it on Twitter. But there's so many people that are talking about this right now. It's a perfect example of, like I said, the smallest things that normally, if this happened, if Drake released this album middle of the NFL season, nobody except me would probably be talking about it, just because I am a freak when it comes to anything related to Philly sports.
100%. I agree. I think to take this a step further, I think Jalen has to adopt a new nickname of being the certified lover boy, being that he's
Love that.
in the city of brotherly love and just the next chapter of the Love Hurts era. I think, it's a great shout out. Drake is also, if you look at the list of Drake's sports references, it's elite. Like,
It is.
he is the biggest sports fan, I think, in music. I mean, Draft Day is one of those classic cult, favorites. Shout out Johnny Manziel, Johnny Football.
Listen, I didn't want to mention Draft Day because, I mean, Andrew Wiggins and Johnny Manziel were both mentioned in that song, which Andrew Wiggins has done fine in his career. He's done okay. Johnny Manziel did not. So I was hoping nobody brought up, well, Tim, Drake has mentioned other athletes before, like, Draft Day, and their careers haven't really panned out that well. Jalen Hurts is different.
Yeah. I think it's also the
He's already
timing of the reference. It's the timing of the
Yes.
reference, right, in the career. I think if he would have shouted out Makai Lemon specifically, I think that we'd be taking a higher risk. And mind you, I love Makai Lemon. What I'm saying more so is, like, to do it at the beginning of someone's professional career is always a bigger risk than taking someone who's already a Super Bowl champion, perennial MVP, like someone who's already, like, Jalen Hurts could retire tomorrow. It would break your heart, but we would still remember him of having a great NFL career.
100%. It would completely break my heart. However, Tanner McKee, I like Tanner McKee. He's not better than Jalen Hurts. Not even.
No.
But you know what, though? There were people last year that said Jalen Hurts was the issue. And Tanner McKee goes and makes his start and looks terrible. Absolutely terrible.
Yep.
So it goes to show that Jalen Hurts wasn't the problem. Tanner McKee wasn't the problem when he started.
Right.
The problem was our good friend of the program, Kevin Patullo. Let's give a little clap for Kevin Patullo. Doing good in Miami. I'm sorry for Miami fans. Shout out the Dolphins. But did you see the interview Kevin Patullo had the other day?
No, because I have so much like secondhand PTSD from your season last year that I think I blocked his name on my Google alerts and on my social feeds because I don't want to hear anything from that man.
Yeah, you don't get any notifications regarding Kevin Patullo. That's what I should do.
You definitely
Um,
should do that because that man is triggering to your subconscious.
there, tell you what, there was a interview that was done where Kevin Patullo was talking about how he was one of the big individuals involved with kind of building up the Eagles offense. I had to stop the video. I mean, it's another thing that just went completely viral because it's all Eagles fans that, and I don't know, and because I don't know Kevin Patullo personally, maybe he's like a really like sarcastic, funny kind of guy, and like that's his
Sure.
humor of like making light of the whole situation. But let me tell you, he instantly triggered the entire city of Philadelphia. Like the entire city was like, "All right, we're going to Miami, and we're gonna have a personal talk with Kevin because that's just not true." And if it is true, what the heck, Nick Sirianni? Like, what are we doing?
Uh,
Um,
yeah,
and I mean, I could go on about this forever, but we got the PGA Championship going on right now.
we
Have you
do.
been following it all?
The last alert I got was that Bryson's 9 over.
Mm, that's that's tough.
That's a tough look. That's you don't win
that is,
you can't win a PGA championship being 9 over.
and if you do, I question if there's bad weather. Um,
Let me pull up this leaderboard right now. Just I got to see how the day's finishing out.
while you're doing that, so when
Yeah,
this airs, obviously the PGA Championship will be over.
sure.
I personally hope John Rahm wins the PGA Championship. I'm
Mm,
just like I'm intrigued with the whole like live golf situation, and
yep,
um, the other thing I don't know if you saw this with John. He actually had to go and apologize to one of the volunteers. Did
yeah,
you see this?
yep,
Because he was so frustrated. Now, mind you, everybody's struggling with this course this week. And I think part of it they were saying is I guess like the greens are super firm and like the fairways are very unforgiving.
yep.
And John Rahm actually had a massive divot where he just swung his club as hard as he could, and that divot actually went and hit a volunteer right in the face. Tough look. But
Tough look.
like I can't say it happens because I don't think I've ever seen anything like where that purposely happened.
Yep,
Um, but I mean, you look at like Rory. Rory shot 74 day one.
I think
Like
so.
that's
Yeah,
just that's not normal for him or any of these guys. But another interesting situation that occurred. I don't know if you saw this either, but a man by the name of Garrick Higo
oh, showed
uh,
up late and got assessed a two
showed
stroke
up late.
penalty.
Yeah, so the guy shoots one under par.
Yep,
Great day.
great
Like
day.
if I were to shoot one under par, let me tell you, I'd retire right away. But he goes and shoots one under par.
Yeah,
Like I wouldn't even question it. Like I'm putting my bags in my car and I'm leaving. Nobody talked to me. Like I'm not doing any interviews. Like I'm out. I'm
sure.
out E5000.
Yep.
Um, but he gets done with his round, and the PJ's officials came over and assessed him a two-stroke penalty because he showed up with just right outside the allotted time for his tee time. I
Yeah.
mean, how does that happen? Like, you're a professional. I get it. Like, listen, I can't say much because I have probably shown up, and I'm sorry to the golf community that's listening to this, but there have been at least a dozen times where I've shown up 20 or more minutes late to my tee time. And like, it's traffic, guys. I'm sorry. I live in Arizona or North Dakota, but like it's traffic. And they're like, Tim, you live in North Dakota. Well, there's like horses crossing the road. Like I couldn't go past the horses. But as a professional, like there
Yep.
really should be no excuse. You know?
Yeah, because I mean, from what I've seen and learned is like the pros are there at least 2 to 3 hours ahead of their tea time. So like
Right.
they're getting they're chipping in, they're putting in, their warm up, their fuel, hitting the range. Like there should really be no reason to show up late. Now, mind you, also in the world of like golf, let's not forget Scotty was arrested overnight and showed up on time
It
and
still made
won.
his tea time.
Yeah,
Like
I think that like I think the because we're in the dog days of summer in just content, like I think Yesterday's thing kind of got blown out of the water. I think it's a good rule to have, right? Like you lose 2 strokes, but like I just looked at it. Higo shot a 6 over today.
Mm.
He may not make the cut. So like I think this will be a non-story by the time we get to Sunday, right? Like I think it's um
Unless he misses the cut by a stroke,
2 strokes.
2 strokes.
I don't think
Then
that's the case. But if it is the case, lesson learned. Kids at
don't
home,
be late.
young golfers, don't be late. The best thing you can do, regardless of where your game is at, is show up on time.
Amen to that. And you know what? I always ask people for, like, to give the listeners advice, but that right there, that's advice that I have to take to heart. Because I'm a very big, like, I'm showing up and I'm going right to the tee box. Wherever the first hole is, I'm going. No warm up. And I learned this from what is it? What's the show that the NFL has?
Hard Knocks?
Oh, Hard Knocks. There we go. When they were with the Cleveland Browns, they were talking with the O-line coach.
Yep.
Old guy, just
Yep.
just an old head, which is okay.
Yep.
And they were talking about warming up, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just I'm not into all this warm up stuff." He's like, when we stormed Normandy, did those soldiers warm up before they stormed Normandy? No, and we won the war. So I'm the same way. I'm showing up to a course. I'm not warming up because you know what? I'm going to attack this course.
Okay, here's where I will push back on that glorious man who is the O-line coach. Football is a game of war. Golf is a game of surgery. And I need my surgeon to be warmed up, fully within his modalities and coherent, not rushing to give me life-saving surgery. So I think there's a balance of the two, right? Where like, I mean, here's the thing. Neither you or I are shooting 1 under in any future. We're barely breaking 80 at this point. So like, my thing is, I still like chipping because it's like it makes me feel locked in. Now, have I been rushing to a tee box? Absolutely. I'm human. It happens. But usually I also know those first 3 holes are my warm-up. So we're warming up regardless.
Right. That's fair. That's a fair way to look at it.
Might as well do it when you're not having to punch it on a scorecard.
Fair. I mean, a 9 kind of looks like a 5 sometimes,
With my handwriting, absolutely.
Yeah, and also I do want to state that I'm pretty sure that Cleveland Browns team went 1-15, or 0-16. It was one of those 2 years. So
what we need to look at though, because what was the offensive line ranking that year? Because they did have Joe Thomas.
Very true. He might have been onto something, honestly. Well, I'll tell you, with my golf game, he's definitely not onto something. Warming up, doesn't warm up, doesn't really affect me slicing. Listen, I'll hit my drive low 300s. It'll go 150 yards straight and 140 to the right.
Yep.
Like, if I warm up or not, nothing's changing that. It is what it is.
We're just playing the alternative path of the hole.
Correct. I'm paying to golf at the course, so I'm going to make sure I see the entire course.
Yeah, I'm testing the course for the groundskeepers.
Right. And also, if I spend, let's say, $200 to golf at this beautiful course, and I'm done in 2.5 hours, that's not a good ROI when I could spend 4 hours golfing the same course, with bad shots.
Yeah. I mean, if I walk off of 18 and I only have if I'm still not hit my 10K steps for the day, I've done it wrong.
Exactly. Like, you're paying to work out, It's an outdoor gym. That's
exactly.
Yep. So, speaking of outdoor gyms.
Yes.
We're going back to the indoors. Changing it up here. So, the Indoor Football League. Are you familiar with arena football?
I am familiar because I'm from Vegas, and arena was the only professional football that we had before the Raiders showed up.
Yep, that was. Oh wow, we're dating back here because that was the. Was that the Were they Las Vegas Kiss or was that LA?
They were the Las Vegas Kiss. No. It was the LA Kiss.
That's what it was.
We were the Vegas, not Wranglers. We were like.
It was like the Outlaw. Like, it was something different than what it is now. Yeah, yes. There it is.
Yeah.
because the newer Las Vegas team is the Nighthawks.
Yes.
And so this whole story happened, I believe, 2 weeks ago now, but
Okay.
it keeps getting brought back up. So for those that aren't familiar, the arena football was massive in like the late 2000s, early 2010s. Like the
Yep.
Arizona Rattlers were one of the big names, the Philadelphia Soul, the LA Kiss, um, San Jose Sabercats. Like there's been a handful of like more popular teams. It kind of died out except for the Indoor Football League, which is kind of the big now arena league. And the Arizona Rattlers, who were in the Arena Football League, are now in the Indoor Football League playing
Got it.
with the Las Vegas Nighthawks. Las Vegas Nighthawks organization and the Arizona Rattlers organization are massive rivals.
Okay.
Kevin Guy, the Arizona Rattlers head coach,
Okay.
is very similar to a Nick Sirianni in the aspect of he is going to say his mind.
Sure.
And he doesn't care if you're an official, if you're a fan, if you're an opposing team's player, if you're his own player. He's going to call everybody out.
Love it.
And I guess the other week when these two teams were playing, now mind you, the Nighthawks ended up winning against the Rattlers by like 3 scores. It was like a 52-30 something final. But there was I guess a really questionable call towards the like midway during the third quarter. And one of the unique things about the Indoor Football League is the coaches actually stand on the field while the play is going on.
Yes.
Right. So
Yep.
I don't know, like if anybody's never watched the Indoor Football League or arena football in general, like it's unique. Like there's only like 9 guys on the field on each team.
Yep.
And like rosters are only like 20 players.
Yep.
But the coaches stand on the field. And so there was a questionable call. Kevin Guy goes running out basically to the middle of the field. And the Nighthawks head coach also came running. And Kevin Guy pushed him, and like they started getting into a shoving match, which then caused the benches to clear. And then we had players arguing with one another, and then assistant coaches arguing with one another. And then finally, the refs restore order after it was like a 15-minute delay in the game, and they released a whole statement on like, the actions of the game don't, it's not what the league's trying to put out, and like it's not a reflection of the league itself and all that kind of stuff. However, and this is why we're bringing it back up. Kevin Guy keeps bringing it back up on social media. He got thrown out of the game for the fight also.
Fair.
Which there's a clip that went viral on social media of the Knights head coach like waving by to him. Wild. I respect it, honestly.
Yep. Always.
But they're talking. So Kevin Guy is fully in belief that the Arizona Rattlers and the Nighthawks are going to face off again sometime during the playoffs, which they should. The championship game. This is where this story gets all connected here. The championship game for the Indoor Football League is not in one of the team's stadiums. It's over in New Jersey in a mall.
Oh, I kind of like this. I like this.
This championship game is in a mall. I don't remember the name of the mall. It's like the Capitol Mall or something like that, but it's in New Jersey, and it's like a 3-story part of the mall where it is legit. Like I think they use it for like figure skating and stuff. Like it's a skating rink, but then they just roll the turf over top of it, and like I think they can fit like 900 people in technically.
Perfect.
Which is fine. Like, obviously it's Arena League, so it's not the same kind of viewership of the NFL or the UFL or anything like that. But Kevin Guy is fully in belief that those two are going to square off. So he's talking about it's like the Royal Rumble in the Capitol or something like that he's like using this wild hashtag. And he keeps like, I don't know who on the Arizona Rattlers social media team, or maybe it's him himself, is using AI to make these wild graphics. But like there's one where like he's got like these money glasses on, and like he's got all these money bands and stuff. Like it's wild. It's kind of tacky, but low-key really funny. And it's something I've been following here these last couple weeks. And I don't know. I think the Rattlers have lost every game since. I could be completely wrong. That could be a complete lie. But this guy is so like set on this. Like the Nighthawks are living rent free in Kevin Guy's head right now. Which Kevin Guy's a legend of the Arena League. Like, he's probably the greatest arena football head coach of all time.
Okay.
But it's just I can't get over the fact that a championship game, and they did this last year too. I can't believe a championship game is being played and held in a mall. Like,
I I'm with you, but I
I'm just
also am like th- malls are like the arena football league of shopping centers.
that's one way to look at it.
They
Actually,
were
that's unique.
great in the 2000s, big in the 2010s, early 2010s, but then people kind of forgot about them, right?
True.
As outdoor shopping centers, these like, open air facilities that it's dining and shopping. It's like we've lost, this is one of those great American casualties of like we've lost the love and lust of an indoor shopping mall experience where you have mid Sbarro pizza next to a hot dog on a stick.
Sbarro pizza. Oh my gosh,
You can get a custom
I used to
T-shirt at
live
Hot
for that.
Topic. Like
Yep.
it's that's the lost art, right? Window shopping isn't as much of a thing. It's all online. Like bring it back, man. Like if I can go to a mall, grab a hot dog on a stick and a giant orange Julius and watch guys smack each other up against plexiglass and throw some touchdowns, like I think that's America, man. That's
I'll tell you
that's
what. You just convinced me. Maybe we'll try to get the podcast over in New Jersey for this championship game, because let me tell you, I I know there's a lot of people out there that have never watched the Arena League, and maybe they've heard of it, but like it's just like it's hard to watch. Like I don't know where you actually watch it. I just see all
uh,
the stuff on social media. And so like I don't think there's a lot of people out there that have never truly experienced an Arena Football League game, and let me tell you, it is some of the wildest. It might be a top 3 wildest sporting event you will ever attend. You got
for
guys
sure.
flipping over the barrier,
Yep.
like being thrown into the stands. You got players fighting fans that we
Yep.
saw 2 years ago with the Arizona Rattlers and the Massachusetts Pirates, who are a different team now. But like a brawl, we had literally a Malice in the Palace, but arena football style. So it is, if you ever get the opportunity to do it, you gotta go to an indoor football league game. Like they're probably super cheap. Like I have no idea what the tickets cost. Um, but we may make it a goal to get out to New Jersey and watch this championship in a mall. Now I know we're still talking about malls, but there's one there's one mall that I would love to see, whether it's an arena football league game or any sporting event at. But it is, and I don't know the name of the mall, but it is the massive, like 7,000 store mall in Dubai. Let me tell you, Caden,
Ooh.
I got lost. This is a really funny story, actually. I know this is not sports related, but I got lost in this mall for 3.5 hours, and I had to get people from TikTok to help me get out of this mall. Like I literally asked at least 30 people. And for those that have never been to Dubai, the people in Dubai are some of the nicest individuals you'll ever meet. And like they were trying to help me as much as they could. But obviously language barrier, and because this mall is so massive, like the cell service just is not great.
Right.
So like I couldn't open up like my translate app, and all that. And so I I'm going around, I'm like, hey guys, like, do you know where the exit is? Like to get to Uber?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, a left and a left. And I was like, okay. So they're like, you go down this way, you take a left, there's gonna be an elevator, you take another left, and then you'll be down in the basement where the Uber is. I followed the directions left and a left every single time, got lost. And it just kept getting me more and more lost. But in this mall, while I was panicking because I am thousands of miles away from home and I have no idea where I am in this mall, I found a massive ice skating rink. And
Ooh.
like it is by far the biggest indoor, outside of like basketball stadiums and actual like stadiums itself. It is the largest like indoor, we'll call it like sports complex I've ever seen. This ice skating rink is probably like 2 or 3 times the normal ice skating rink that you would see. Like you could have numerous hockey games going on in this ice skating rink with the
Love it.
width.
Yeah.
So if the Arena League or the Indoor Football League is listening to this right now, we need to take the game internationally and we need to play in that mall in Dubai. That is a must. Also, it's right next to Lululemon and
Oh,
Nike, and there was like 3 Nike stores. They were one next to each other after another,
wow.
and I was like, "What? That's where we got this from." The
There we
little
go.
like Hermes or whoever, Cupid, loves in the
Yeah,
air.
love it.
Yeah,
I
there we
I
go.
think I think even if it's not full tackle arena league, bring a flag is coming to the Olympics.
Flag.
Do the
Yeah,
Olympic trials in Dubai and that mall.
yeah. You know what? We might be solving the Olympics issues for them. Or even like if it doesn't even need to be like the Olympic trials. Like this could be like a Middle Eastern like flag football league.
Yeah.
Like
Well, aren't
you have
they?
the
Isn't Brady doing that in Dubai next year?
is he?
Are this off season? Or I thought that was happening this summer.
Was that with the oh, you know what? You are right. Cause is that's with Fanatics, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yep. I don't know because I know there was the issue with like the money situation,
Mm,
right? Same
yep.
thing that like Live Golf is dealing with.
Sure.
So I don't know if they're still doing that because I saw the last time I saw there was like some questions whether or not they were going to keep doing the partnership with Fanatics. Um,
Oh,
but I
got it.
mean, let me tell you, I'm all for sports being played in the Dubai Mall, Dubai in general. I mean, Dubai is unreal. Um, the next topic here.
Yeah. Let's jump to it.
Wait, did you have anything to add?
No, 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 no.
Okay.
I just I'm fantasizing now about indoor football in this giant 7,000 square foot mall. Also, they should do a marathon within the mall.
Dude, I'm telling you, this I probably walked a marathon. Actually, it was more of like a slight jog
Yeah.
because I was so panicked. Like I still have the text messages that I sent to some of the people from TikTok, and I was like, guys, I don't know where I'm going, and they're like, Tim, like, don't worry, it's okay, like, it'll all be fine. And I'm like, I'm lost.
I'm
I feel
worried.
like the kid from Home Alone. Like I am lost in New York, but I'm not in New York. I'm in Dubai. If I'm lost in New York, nobody worry about me because I'll find my way to Philly somehow. If I'm lost in Dubai, I'm lost. Like there's just no like it is what it is.
I love it. Love
But
it. Okay, next topic.
so WNBA kicked off last week. We love the WNBA. Rocking the WNBA shirt. Um Before I get into the main topic,
Yep.
how for those again that don't know, you are a Las Vegas Aces fan.
Yep.
The Aces should be good this year again.
Sure.
However,
Okay.
what happened? We're getting a
Ring.
fan's perspective. Game 1.
Yep.
What happened to the Aces offense?
Uh, Context. I think the years that we've all won a championship, we have not won game 1, and you have to fact check me
Mm,
on that. But I'm pretty confident, at least on ring nights that we've had, we don't ruin a win on ring night. I would
okay.
also take note of the fact that Asia Wilson is now officially in year 9, um, and she did not play in the preseason. Right? She is officially hit vet goat status where she does not need to play in preseason. And I think game 1 was like game 0, right? In terms of
Yep.
like we're getting our feel for each other. There's some new players on there, Kennedy Carter being one of them. I think they're just figuring each other out. I think and the W is not about how you start, it's about how you finish, right? And I think it's basketball in general. Um, I also think emotions are running high. They got their giant rings, the ring within a ring. That's a whole other thing too. The sports league's got to start thinking about this of how do we build a ring that you can put on display, but also have an element of it take that you can wear on the street without it being obnoxious.
Right.
I also think the finals matchup played a part of it of like Phoenix had a chip on their shoulder and Phoenix is good. They have Alyssa Thomas. Like that's a team that you have to pay attention to and you can't overlook on the calendar, right? Even though they look different than they did in the finals. So I think Phoenix had something to prove. The Aces were relishing the moment. I think they're just getting up to speed with some of their new players. I mean, I wasn't ringing the alarm bells by any means. I also think that like the W is a league of runs and a league of like, anyone can win. Like kind of we say any given Sunday, any team can win on the football
100%.
field. I think any given night, any team can win the WNBA. And I think that's the beautiful part of the league. I mean, we're a couple days removed, but like the new Portland Fire expansion team beat the Liberty on a buzzer beater. Like It happens. Anything can happen. I think that's the beautiful part of it.
Right. Also, I think we need to give a big shout out to the Asia Wilson being a $1 million woman with her massive contract.
Deservedly
Shout out
so.
Asia. Shout out
Deservedly
Asia.
so. Face of the league.
100%.
Goat. Goat status pending. Like, I mean, like she is well. It's well deserved, and I think that like we are seeing greatness in the making, right? We're seeing greatness happen in front of us. And I know everyone's like $1 million in regards to other pro sports doesn't sound like a lot, but in regards to the league, like that's the biggest we've seen so far, right? And I think that that's
Right.
huge and it's well deserved. And I think she's committed, like she's locked in to win, like to make sure everyone knows it was worth it, right? And then some. And it's I love where the league is at. I mean I think back to our conversations about the league a few years back, right? Where we were like, what's going to happen? You know, looking at media rights deals, and I think the 80% of the league was a free agent this year, and she was one of that 80%, and she knew the bag was coming, but the little years leading up to this, she made sure I got 3 chips in 4 years. Like
Right.
she did her job.
100%. And I think and you kind of touched on it. It's so fascinating how quickly the WNBA has seen its rise in popularity, and I think obviously Caitlin Clark with her very quick rise in
Yep,
popularity at Iowa and then here in the WNBA has played a big part in it. Asia's played a part in it. Angel Reese has played a part in it. Same thing with Paige Beckers. Like there's so many names now that it's
yep,
like, yes, while Caitlin may be one of the bigger names, like there's also others that, contributed to this.
yep,
But even just talking the other week on Sports Slice here when I had Val Whiting on, she's one of the OGs of the WNBA.
yep,
So she played in the league before, I think it was like the ABL,
yep,
which was the league before the WNBA, and then they went under when the WNBA kind of came to be with the NBA.
yep,
But like even she was talking about because I didn't realize at the time like the ABL was paying their players 6 figures,
yeah,
where the WNBA was like, hey, if you're making 30K, like that's it, like that's what you're making.
right.
And so like to go from that here, what we're year 20 or
No,
no 30
30,
30 30 year
30.
30. Wow, hello.
Yeah,
um like we're year 30 and you're going from a $30,000 contract to somebody like Asia signing $1 million deal. Like
yep,
that's massive. Like that's massive growth, especially over these past couple years recently. And I think that trend's only going to continue.
yep,
And 5 years from now, we'll be talking about, wow, like Asia was only making $1 million. Like we've got girls that are making $4 million a year potentially.
yeah,
But the one thing that's fascinating with the start of the WNBA right now, and I know the WNBA this past offseason made a high emphasis on correcting this, but the issue is with the officiating.
yeah,
And it's not so much there was a problem of like them not being good. It was a situation where there were so many inconsistencies.
yep,
And one officiating group called something different than the other, and there was a lot of what you would expect to be common fouls just sometimes weren't called.
yeah,
And there was a lot of complaints from the players, coaches, fans. The WNBA's obviously put a high emphasis on correcting this. And I think right now we're seeing an overcorrection. So, doing some research, teams right now are averaging 23.8 fouls per game,
mm,
which is significantly up from last year.
yeah,
However, with that, I think over the course of the season, it's a long season. We're going to see, officials kind of get their footing more. It's like I said, it's the first week right now. And I think what we're seeing too is a mix of officials are calling things a little bit more. Players are taking advantage of that in a
yes,
good way. Like I would do the same thing.
yeah,
But for example, the Fever and the Sparks were playing the other night,
hmm,
and Kelsey Plum had a flop, which everybody knew it was a flop.
yep,
However, any sort of contact, like I'm going to go throw my arms up in the air and act like I was just shoved to the other side of the court because it's going to be called.
Yep.
Um, and it's just it's a situation that you'd rather have that than things not called, but there's gonna eventually they're gonna have to create a happy medium, and I think
Yeah.
the WNBA is gonna have to step in or and maybe make a memo to refs and be like, hey, like you guys are doing a great job. Let's tone it down a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I think there's two things. I think the league addressed the issue of no calls, right? Like we got to call more just to make this fair. And also, calling more provides a bigger sample size for them to realize, okay, what are the calls that shouldn't be made, right? Because if nothing is getting called, you technically can't even review it in game or even after the game. And
Right.
and so we saw this on the men's side too with like the 2 minute report. The more of these accountability tools that come in, especially with the amount of visibility growing exponentially on the league, not only is the internet going to hold the league accountable, the league is going to hold the league accountable. And I think we're going to see it probably shift in real time. I don't know if they've fully instituted the 2 minute report yet for the W, but I'm sure something like it exists that's not as external facing or it's not publicly released. And I
Mhm.
think that's just going to also improve the quality of reffing and officiating. Like it's just going to go hand in hand, right? And I think the other part though from a gamesmanship perspective is like if you know, like I have no problem with players taking advantage of a loose whistle. Like I don't have an issue with it because I will say playing in my age, I mean, I was the biggest kid on the court playing AAU travel ball. And I remember there was a guard who drove the lane and he was maybe 5 foot, 100 pounds soaking wet. I am 5'10" at the time, 250 on a good day. And he drives down the lane. I set up to take a charge. It's a clean charge and I don't fall because physics, and I get called to the blocking foul. And I was like, ref, are you kidding me? Like, what are you talking about? And he's like, if you want the charge, you got to earn it. You got to fall for it. And I was like, okay, you gave me the insight. Cool.
Right.
Next time down the floor, you're sure as heck I hit the deck. And they called it. And so like that's like the point of that is what I'm saying is it's not that you're taking advantage of something. It's I know what the ref style is. Right?
Right.
Like, on the men's side, Tony Brothers, Scott Foster, they have a reputation of how they call games. Players know how
The
they call
extender.
games. The extender, they know how they're going to call games, whether it's in the regular season or the playoffs. Now, players can take issue with it, but the only thing that's inevitable in life is change. So if
Right.
you have to adjust your style of play and adjust the way that you approach the game, you're going to have to do that's part of becoming a better player, right? Is playing to the rules, the conditions that are set before you. Um, I think both of those are going to work hand in hand. And I think that this overcorrection, the pendulum's going to swing back towards the middle of being more of a sweeter balance. And we could see that happen this season, right? That things are going to get better. I think things will get better by the playoffs for sure, because things are going to be under such a high microscope by the time we get to the end of the season.
100%. And I think it's been a limited capacity with the season again, just starting a week ago, but I think we're seeing the players appreciate the emphasis on, having not necessarily better officiating, but essentially it is better officiating, more
Yeah.
effective officiating. Because just the other night, you go and see, like, I know I keep bringing up the Sparks and the Fever, but shout out the
No.
Fever.
Yeah.
But it's the perfect example. Caitlin Clark gets fouled, or excuse me, she commits a foul,
Yep.
doesn't necessarily agree with it, gets teed up right before half. And the one thing that I mean, there's a lot of things, but the one thing that I really like that the WNBA has done a very good job, especially recently with, is doing the like in-game interviews or the interviews with players as they're going to halftime. And I know
Yep.
a lot of sports do it now and whatnot, but like the WNBA is going to grab Caitlin Clark
Yep.
because people are going to want to listen to Caitlin Clark more
Yes.
than whoever it may be. But they're going to grab Caitlin Clark and they're going to say, hey, like, what happened with that foul? Like, why did you get a technical? And right away, her answer was like, hey, like, it was the right call. Like, I shouldn't have done it. It was
Yeah.
the right call. And that right there to me is like, yes, sure, it's good as a player to say that. But I think it's more of the players understand that the refs are trying their hardest. And
Yes.
you can't always say this, but for specifically with the WNBA, the players know that the officiating has changed from
Yes.
last year to this year. And it's more consistent. And like I said, it's an overcorrection right now, but they're all overcorrecting. And
Yeah.
so there's a level of appreciation, I think, more right now with the players and the coaches, with the officials, and it seems like, I could be wrong, but it seems like they're being a little bit more patient. And I think both sides are being a little bit more patient with one another, because like it is something that eventually will correct itself. Um, but regardless, like the WNBA has been super entertaining. I don't know about you, but like as a Fever supporter, temporary Fever supporter, and Phoenix Mercury supporter, until Philadelphia gets a WNBA team. Um, I mean, there's so much fun to watch.
So I think the biggest thing to like help with the empathy aspect of this and like that appreciation to grow it more, I think is also to streamline communication because refs are going to be under the same emotional pressures and stress. They're not shooting the ball, but they are calling the game and they're living the game in real time. I think I don't know about you, but for me in youth sports, the captain on the court was the main mouthpiece to the ref, right? And as a kid, you feel empowered because like I get to talk to the adult. But that also meant the team had to talk to the captain to go talk to the adult. And so I think the same kind of aspect of like one mouth, one noise, right? Like that's we're unified as a team. And I think honestly, and not to keep going back to the men's side, but I think there are beautiful things happening in basketball as a culture. You look at the NBA in the playoffs, right? Like officiating, and as a Laker fan, yes, the fouls that were not being called against OKC were tough to watch. But the way the Lakers handled it by being like, hey, refs, let's have a team meeting real quick on the court and talk
That
about
was
this.
wild.
Yes, it was wild to see as a visual, but think about how much emotional maturity and like intelligence that takes because we're not far removed from just players going off in the press conference, players going off on Twitter, live streaming, jumping on live right after a game to complain. They said, no, forget that noise. We're going to just bring it to you directly and just have a man-to-man conversation. I think the women of the WNBA are totally capable of doing that. And I think having that approach to it rather than being like, I don't know what these refs are doing and da 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 da. It's like we're building fences with that action rather than building a bridge. And I think that
100%.
the refs need the players to have a job, and the players need the refs to protect the game that they love. And so it
Absolutely.
goes hand in hand, and they should be looking at this as a partnership of getting better rather than it being like it's us against them.
Right. And I'll tell you what, I could never imagine the 76ers, or really any Philly sports team, sitting in a huddle with the officials after a game, because those officials, if they were playing, if that game was in Philly, and we're not
Yep.
talking, Lakers and OKC, we're talking Philly versus whoever, those refs are getting out of there as quick as possible because those fans are
Shipped out.
throwing anything that they could get their hands on into the court or the field of play, whatever, sport it may be. But on that note, we are getting to my favorite part of the podcast here. It is the slice of unbelievable.
Let's do
Now,
it.
Caden, if you don't know, and for those that are listening that don't know, the slice of unbelievable is essentially every week I'm calling out, in a good way, calling out something that's wild that's occurred in the sports world, something that's unbelievable. So in the past, it's been talking about Crystal Palace last week with them winning or going to their first UEFA Conference League final, or the Buffalo Sabres, making the playoffs for the first time in 5,000 days, or, breaking a 2-hour barrier for the marathon, which I will not be doing when I run my marathon at the end of the year. This week's slice of unbelievable,
Yep.
we're going all the way to the tennis courts.
Ooh.
Now, I am not a tennis savvy athlete. I'm actually probably one of the worst tennis players you will ever see. But that is not the same for the man by the name of Jannik Sinner.
Yep.
So Jannik rewrote the history books this week, becoming the first tennis player to ever win 32 consecutive ATP Masters victories.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unreal. Unreal.
Dude's
Absolutely unreal. He
dude
broke
is a
the tie.
cyborg.
Broke the tie with Novak Djokovic for the longest winning streak at this level.
Yep.
Okay. His last loss came all the way back in October of 2025 at the Rolex Shanghai Masters tournament.
Yeah.
That
Wow.
is uh, ridiculous. We got to give a clap here for Janik. Shout out
Manifesting
Janik. I mean,
future friend of the program. That's what we want to
future
we put that out, speak
exactly.
that into existence.
Exactly. Future fan of or friend of the program, Janik Sinner. Shout out Janik. I mean, truthfully, I genuinely don't. I'm struggling to comprehend this feat of winning so many matches.
Yeah.
Like again, this is somebody I don't. I'll be the first one to admit I don't really like. I'm not a tennis guy in terms
Sure.
of I can't play tennis. Like it's entertaining, no doubt. It is so entertaining, especially with the ball being hit 100 plus miles an hour and just like taking a couple steps and being able to serve it back. Like
Yep.
I struggle to comprehend. Like I said, winning so the guy has not essentially lost in almost a year. Like
Yeah.
we're pushing. I mean it's May right now, going to be June here soon. But like we're at this rate, like the guy may never lose again, and he's only 24, I think, right
Yep.
now, 23.
Yep.
Like this is completely unfathomable.
Yeah, and I would say the other thing you have to keep in mind in tennis too, compared to other sports, in match they don't get any coaching. They're not allowed to get any coaching.
True.
There's no coach on the sideline to keep them locked in, to give them adjustments in the between. They can't even communicate with their coaches that are in the boxes really. Like it is a solo isolated journey through 32 matches. And those that don't follow tennis, but like the ATP is like the cream of the crop in terms of who's on that tour. And I think the more impressive thing is like, so he's not playing against scrubs. He's not
Right.
playing against, right? You know what I mean? It's not, Jake Paul in the boxing ring where like he can choose his opponents. Like it's tournament style. Every match has stakes to it. And I mean, being as young as he is, I mean, tennis is in such a great place, I think, right now on the men's side. Like we're seeing a renaissance with him and Carlos, like being 1 and 2 or 1A, 1B, like seeing them compete, week after week is just something of like we're witnessing greatness again in the
Yeah.
sport. Yeah.
I think we're seeing a unique time period too. Of I think there's growing interest in golf, or excuse me, in tennis, but also with golf. I was going to bring
Yep.
up golf here with it. Is in the 21 to 28, 29-year old age group
Yep.
right now. There's like just a massive interest in sports like golf, sports like tennis, sports like F1. Like
Yep.
these sports are just growing in so much popularity, and I do think there is part of it with sports betting becoming more and more popular. I do
Sure.
think they go hand in hand because I will admit, I'll be the first one to admit, if I'm laying in bed at midnight and I'm not tired, the first thing I'm doing, I'm opening up the FanDuel app and checking the live events and seeing, oh, there's a tennis tournament going on the other side of the world. I don't know anything about any of these guys that are or
Yeah.
girls that are playing, but like what's $10? Like, yeah, I'll put $10 to win 25 bucks. And if I wake up the next day I've won, it's like, all right, we're going back to tennis. Like, here we go.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the accessibility to sport to be able to tap in, I think, has broken down the barrier that exists around what I'll call country club sports, right?
Hmm.
Like these are sports, if you didn't grow up invested in these environments or being able to be part of these environments, you didn't really have any sort of plug in or natural connection to it. I think it's the accessibility on the phone with the sports books. I think it's the accessibility via social media. Like, athletes have personalities, and these tennis athletes have a lot of personality, and the golf athletes have a lot of personality. But there's also creators in the space, right? Like yourself, who are making content specifically around those sports. I think also the rise of pickleball, I think, has helped with that too. People are on courts in general, and there's
Shout out Nick
translatable
Foles,
skills. Yep. Shout out. Shout out.
champion pickleballer, not only Super Bowl MVP, but champion
Yeah.
pickleball, pickleball. There we go.
Pickleballer. Pickleballer.
English
Pickler
is
ball.
hard.
Pickler of the ball. And
Exactly.
I think also the one thing to keep in mind is like the sport you should keep an eye on is padel. Padel is basically pickleball inside of a glass cage. It is the arena
Oh,
football of court sports, and so you
there
can
we
hit it
go.
off the wall. It is probably one of the biggest growing sports outside of the US right now. And I think you're seeing more folks from the entertainment space, the music space, former athletes getting invested in a lot of these sports. Not even just, not just padel, but like you're seeing it in padel, pickleball, tennis, being in like celebrity tournaments, golf. I mean, look at how big something like the Internet Invitational was, right? For that's all influencers, that's all grassroots of an
Right.
audience that out. And I think when I looked at the stats, it outpaced and outrated every golf major event last year except for the Masters
That's
combined.
insane. That's
Yeah,
insane.
but that's the power of the internet, and I think that's the beautiful part is like a lot of the casual fans want to see people who can play like them or who they can relate to. And like the cool thing about Yannick is like he plays with Lego in his off time. He's also a big napper, but he also
True.
loves fashion. So he's not like this the image probably that we grew up with of looking at athletes being these like gods amongst men, I think is being adjusted. Not that they're not extra special or extraordinary compared to us, but it's also they have things that we could talk about that doesn't always have to be the one thing they're great at compared to us.
Right.
And I think that that's beautiful. That's like the beautiful part about sport. And I think that as now I'm hitting 30 and I'm older than some of these star athletes, and it makes me feel old. I think that's beautiful that athletes are able to connect with fans and across the globe in new ways that transcends the field of play.
100%. I agree 100%. But we are freshly out of time here. And I appreciate you so much coming on here. And it's been a lot of fun. And we've got some
Yeah.
great insight. The one thing from this entire episode, if people can take from it, make sure you show on time for your tea times. Don't
Show
be
up on time.
in a world full of Tims. Don't be a Tim in this aspect. Don't show up 30 minutes late for your tea time and expect to get right on the course because it's not going to be happening. Everybody's not going to be happy with you.
Can I also say just one last piece as
Let's
your
do it.
friend? For everyone out there, whether you're new to the Timbo slice of life, or you're new to the slice of sport, the one lesson you can take that I can take from our friendship and our dynamic is when you find a good teammate, hold on to them for dear life. Give them that life contract because there is no better teammate in this world than Timbo. I'm so proud of you, brother. And I love seeing you win. It makes me so happy. And I think for everyone else out there, find your
You're going to make
Tim.
me cry.
Find your Tim. Find your Tim because the person who can find the light in the dog days of summer, they give you the energy and the momentum to keep going. And know that the things like sports are what connect humans, regardless of where you're from or where you're located. So again, brother, very very proud of you. So grateful for this platform. So grateful and appreciative of the success you've had. Thank you for sharing this little bit of light with me and this slice of sport with me. Hopefully
Here
we
we
can do it
go. The
again.
sports slice. Yeah. Anytime you want to come on, the people will love you.
Well, we'll
You're
see. Let's see if they get through
they
the
will.
longest
No,
episode
they
so
will.
far.
They will. But again, appreciate you, man, for coming on. And again, this has been a whole bunch of fun. So we've got some crazy stuff I'm sure going to be happening next week and the upcoming weeks with the Sports Slice and what's going on around the sports world, and some fun guests coming up here that I cannot say who it is, but I will tell you off camera here, Caden.
Can't
So
wait.
people are going to have to wait.